car with their high beams on, and it's hardly raining, and it's not that foggy. I can see like, a half a mile ahead, plus, depending on the curvature of the road and the hills and so on and so forth. That guy didn't have his lights on, that last guy, because there's no need to. Earlier, there was 3 people jogging with white lights on their heads. Like, why are you jogging in the rain in the first place, way out in the middle of nowhere? And they have some kind of light on their heads. Very suspicious as hell. It's almost as if there's some semblance of an excuse that they turn on the light, their high beams. And it's a sign that they're going to adjust the video later to confuse the situation. So this is felony stalking. It's against the law to stalk someone and harass them, period. Whether you all wear hats that say, we're watching you, and no one else does it anywhere else, and it's clear cut that's aimed at this person. And it's also where it's a terrorist threat, where you're in fear of physical harm, right? You don't have to necessarily be in fear of your life, but you're in fear for physical harm, and impunity and so on and so forth. So for all intents and purposes, it's an organized felony terrorist campaign. And the idea behind it is that so many people are involved, including law enforcement, and I'd imagine, it's safe to say that the court system, that they say, it doesn't matter. And that is sick as it gets. To do that to the most righteous person ever, on top of that, using a logical and universal scale, which is the scale that should prevail in any academic discussion. Because you can't just say, a God or gods or God, made it so your book transcends universal scales, right? Logical scales, 1 + 1 = 2 kind of scales for righteousness, righteous intensity, and so on and so forth. They're writing consistently. And obviously this country had any honor. Have been held into account a long time ago, so let's see how this goes. This goes as I predicted. That they'll never be held accountable in my lifetime. Okay, act like those little spoiled bitches that God hates after I'm gone. And say, well, we stopped doing it now that he's gone, and maybe he was a good guy, maybe he wasn't. It's fucking retarded. It's fucking some bitch ass fucking fairy, fucking, Rick Moranis, Frodo Baggins, heel clicking ass, fucking Ichabod Crane, afraid to man up type of bitch shit. You know what I'm saying? It's very shameful. This is how people live their one life to live. If you have one life to live, should you serve a bunch of pedos and their allies in a state where 1 in 4 little girls is sexually molested before the age of 18, and 1 in 6 little boys, and then say, hey, the politicians have nothing to do with pedos, and who's governing this lunatic fucking nation? Okay, it's one of the main nations that went around the world and ruined every nation on the planet. And then look at the underdeveloped nations who are at their fucking mercy and say, why can't they govern themselves? That's like somebody, a bunch of people packing out a little kid, and saying, why can't he fucking defend himself? You sick motherfuckers. As you can see, this guy over here, there's one guy in the distance with the white lights going white light freaking hard. Guilty as sin. You should see that. People say things like, they say, the problem is you're arguing who's better than who, right? I mean, how immature is that? They don't fear that I'm going to take over the government or anything. They're mad because of some kind of religious fanatic conception of what happens in your nation to its spirit if one person is effectively arguing that moral supremacy is greater than the scale that is used in the nation. And their explanation probably, one way or another, has a lot to do with what's going on. And certainly you see, like, everyone and their mom, they use those kind of scales. You can tell by the cars they drive, the vehicles they drive. You can tell by their clothes, by how they vote, okay, how the government markets cultures to them, the exact way they market it, and guerrilla market on the internet when they go on the internet and try to guerrilla market it. You can tell by how they date, how many gold diggers there are. I mean, there's a lot of things that are dead giveaways that is actually the case. Okay, that we're looking at people who are so petty that who don't understand God or spirituality or martial arts or love or anything like that to any significant degree, who then turn around and say, we can't let this guy do that. People way out of touch, senseless, pointless, foolish, inconsiderate, careless, out of touch, just very silly, callous hearts, mentally, inadequate, just silly, just evil and silly. Two different color headlights would look like I took a glance. I don't want to mess with my eyes, so people are just petty. Even if this wasn't aimed at me, and everywhere people just have their brights on, saying what the hell, right? They say, well, who cares? We're all gonna just drive with our brights on. What the hell does that tell you about society? You know what I'm saying? But you could tell by the patterns of traffic, the types of vehicles they have, the license plates and bumper stickers that have to do with the things I've been talking about recently. The patterns, the timing of it. It makes it clear that it's aimed at me, and of course, they've admitted it. So they like to admit it straight out, and they like to have trolls kind of pretend that they're being sarcastic while basically saying exactly what they're doing and why, so to speak, something to that effect.